eBEFOREi here, back with another review, this time reviewing something very, very cool, especially for all of you G1, kind of old school Transformer people, whether you grew up with it or if you grew to love them later on. This is iGEAR's Mini Warriors MW-03 HENCH. Okay, HENCH doesn't mean anything to you, but Brawn does, because this is their update to the Transformer mini-bot, Brawn. So Brawn, well, not one of my favorite characters growing up watching the Transformers television show, was always one of my favorite toys because I think that there was just something about that figure that he was small and compact but still kind of was tough, and I really enjoyed the toy, as odd as the thing looked, and I'll show him off in a minute to compare them. So I was very excited when iGEAR introduced the fact that they were going to remake a lot of these mini-bots, and Brawn turned out way better than I expected. So a huge fan of this toy, and we'll go over every aspect of it here. We'll start with the box. Again, this is Mini Warriors Till All Are Fun. That's cool. MW-03 HENCH, as I mentioned. They can't call him Brawn because that would not be legal. Since he's not a Hasbro or Takara product, he is absolutely a third-party iGEAR toy. Till All Are Fun, again, on the side, you have a very old-school looking Transformer box. I mean, lawyers out there. Be nice, be nice. Again, on the front of the box here, Mini Warriors, Mini Warrior to Land Cruiser and back again. That's cool. Now you've got some warnings. Recommended for ages 18 and up. Good grief, 18? Well, I certainly qualify. Choking hazard, small parts not for children under 5 because of small parts choke. So isn't that interesting? Recommended for ages 18 and up, but if you're over 5, yeah, why not? Just don't put it in your mouth. Made in China, product and colors may vary. Retain this packaging for future reference. Alright, so that's pretty much that. Now on the back of the box, Mini Warriors Till All Are Fun, and we have a very neat bio here, which is very cool. So I will read that to you in my patented robot voice. Oh, and by the way, since he's called Hench here, I'm going to replace the word Hench with Brawn, and I'm going to replace the word medical specialist with Ratchet. I don't have a medical specialist here from iGEAR, but I do have a picture of one, and that's medical specialist Ratchet, or, excuse me, medical specialist. So that's what they're referring to. They did a great update to G1 Ratchet, and it's just awesome. I don't have it here. I may get it. It's pretty pricey, kids. It's very pricey. But anyway, let's move on to the bio here while reading in robo voice and changing the names around.
Brawn was another of Ratchet's experiments, downsizing a regular bot into a smaller form to conserve energy. Amazingly, he kept his original quota of strength, but he also found he felt the need to constantly show off and tell everyone how strong he is for his size. Ratchet dubbed it the very first case of short bot syndrome, armed with a close-range smog gun for close combat concealment.
Is it smog or SMOG? I'll need to look that up. Anyway, so we've gone over the box enough in detail. Let's get to the figure itself. So here he is. This is Brawn, or excuse me, this is not Brawn, this is Hench. I'm just going to call him Brawn. Hopefully no one gets in a tizzy about that. But here he is. He's, as they mentioned, a Land Cruiser. And every bit, this guy represents the Generation 1 version of the toy. As far as paint go, he doesn't have a ton of paint. He does have the silver grille here, black in the windows, some silver on the top, some silver side lights here. And on the back, I think these are gas tanks. He's got the silver X's there. And that's it. That's your paint. So not a lot of paint. But again, it very closely mimics the Generation 1 toy. How closely? That closely. Let's take a look at them side by side. Again, you've got the silver here, albeit not paint. It's just a shiny piece of reflective plastic there. Everything is so close on this. Look at the two yellow bits in the front, and then you have that here. On the side of the vehicle, you have the rub sign here on my version of the toy. But again, I mean, look at the detail is just so close. On the back, you know, when I first saw this toy, I was wondering what these X's were, but lo and behold, we had one on the original toy, albeit one instead of two, and you'll see where this comes into play here in robot mode. Again, on the side, and really, looking at it this way, even the kibble's kind of the same. And the faces can actually be almost identical, and we'll get into that after transformation. You also get an idea of the size of the figure, just the fact that the mini-bot looks so small next to him. He's probably about the size, and I'll do some comparisons in robot mode, but in vehicle mode, he's probably about the same size as the Fall of Cybertron Jazz, is my thought here. So he's not real tiny. He's actually pretty thick. And the plastic that he's made out of doesn't feel cheap at all. It actually feels, he's actually a bit heavier than some of the more recent deluxe class figures. So he's not quite deluxe size in height, especially in robot mode, but he's very close, if not equal to, in vehicle mode. And again, he does not feel cheap at all for a third-party product. He definitely doesn't feel cheap. I should also mention that he has an M on the hood there. I don't really know what that is. Maybe someone can tell me in comments. But he had it on the original toy as well. So again, I mean, just what a great tribute to an original character that's now going on many, many, many years old. Now, I definitely should mention the back of this guy, because there's a hole here, and that kind of sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what they could have done differently here because of transformation. It doesn't really bother me. I'm not looking behind the vehicle and thinking about the hole there, but just to note, you know, you're paying $35. Some people want perfection for a toy that's on the smaller side that you're paying that much for. And that's somewhat of a flaw, but again, in my personal case, I don't mind it at all. Especially as a display piece, you know, if I'm going to leave him in vehicle mode, which I probably won't, but, you know, he certainly wouldn't be on my shelf like that. Before we get into transformation, I also want to talk about what came inside of the package. This is a very nice, feels like a credit card. I mean, it's not cheap plastic, it's not cardboard. It's got a laminate on it, and it feels great. And it's got this great picture of Hench on the front. And on the back, it gives you his tech specs and kind of the blueprint diagrams of the robot. Reading through the tech specs, his strength is a 9, intelligence is a 3, speed is a 4, endurance is a 9, rank is a 5, courage is a 10, he's very brave, fire blast a 1, considering he comes with a pump handle shotgun, not sure how that ends up being a 1. Fire Blast 1 and skill is a 4. By the way, this shotgun can peg into the top here, and you can have a shotgun on top of his car. If you see that driving down your street, duck under cover, because that is bad news, and it's coming to get you. So yeah, I mean, if you see that, it may be the last thing you ever see. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but that's going in your face, so sorry about that. Let's get him transformed. To transform him, it's a pretty simple process with some tricky bits in his legs, and honestly, if you follow my directions here, I think that you'll get it right every time, and it won't be that hard at all. So to get him started, you just want to put your thumb in here, and you want to lift these panels on the side, just like that, and just like that, okay? Panels up. At that point, you can go ahead and unpeg the legs, and they're pegged into the front, and they're sort of pegged into the back, but not, they just sort of sit inside of that plastic joint. So you can go ahead and just pull it out like that, and you can make them look really, really weird. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is go ahead and form the legs. Now, this is the tricky part. This hinge right here, if you do it wrong, it's nearly impossible to get it in the correct position without feeling like you're destroying plastic and pulling off ball joints, and you don't want to do any of that. So the way to do this every time is to put your hand in here, grab this hip joint where the ball joint is, and tip it to where it's down like that. After you get this ball joint down, what you want to do is you want to take this back piece and you want to get it flush right here so that the groove part is facing the gas tank portion. Okay? When you've done that, you've got enough clearance to take this small bit and bring it right over and around. Okay? And that's all there is to it. It's done. You just peg this in, and at that point you're just going to go in and straighten everything out. Okay? It's really that simple. Now, to continue on here, You want to do the same thing on this side. Bring this down, okay? Put the gears up flush against the gas tank portion. Bring the small piece around, lock it in place, and then bring it down. Not hard, but if you do it wrong, it's going to really, really mess with you, and you're not going to be very happy about that. At this point, you're going to come around to the back and lift this section up. Okay, and you can just leave it there for a minute, because now what we want to do is take the waste, and in order to get rid of this conspicuous hole, yeah, that's the phrase of the day, kids, conspicuous hole. You want to grab this waste piece, and you want to spin it all the way around. By the way, I use that term kids loosely. I know I have a lot of adults that watch this channel, and I watch a lot of Transformer channels as well, so I wonder how many kids are actually watching this, if any. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, you want to spin this around, just like that. And then, of course, you want to go back in and turn the legs to face you again. Now, neat thing about the gas tanks on the feet, these things pivot. Not a lot. You've got this little joint right here, but enough to give you huge stability. Now, I've seen some people that have talked about how this figure's not stable. That's got to be their figure. I mean, because I have, and you'll see when I stand him up, no problems standing this figure up. No problems at all. All right, now you want to pull his arm out. So you just kind of get these back wings out of the way. Reach your hand in here. Pull the arm out, just like that. Do it again on the other side. Okay. And then you also, at this point, want to just turn the fists. So you've got the ball joint facing up. Why would you want to expose the ball joint? Well, it's just the way it goes sometimes. But you get the arms in the position that you're going to want them in. Come around to the back to finish transformation. You want to take this piece right here, and you want to tuck it up underneath. Just like that. Then you want to come around here, kind of tilt this back to form his bottom. Just like that. All right, and then what you do from here is really up to you. Well, I guess let's get these shoulders up first. Just lift them up. And by the way, the joints on this figure are so nice and tight. It's just awesome. At this point, you can take the back wings, and you can leave it G1 by putting them just like that, or you can make it more TV show accurate and put them down. At this point, you just basically got to stand him up, pose him up. Here you have Brawn / Hench in his robot mode, and it is fantastic. I mean, the way that this guy is detailed out. Now, he doesn't have a lot of paint, okay, and that may be a drawback for some. He doesn't have an Autobot symbol because he's a third-party figure, although Repro Labels can take care of that for me. But what this guy lacks in paint and labels completely makes up for in the tribute this pays to the television model of Brawn. Now, there are some parts of the figure that are more true to the original figure than the television model, but the face is just fantastic. Here's my original Brawn. Let's get him transformed real quick. And you can see how easy these things were back in the day. You're just going to open these up, swing these things around. And here you have Brawn transformed. Now, I was talking about the back wings. You can see that you can do that with the new figure. One thing that you'll notice is glaringly different here is Brawn's hands. He has them now, versus the hooks of the old toy. And the face is different. And we'll get into the face here in just a second, but look at everything else. You've got the two little holes right here, or the divots, the lines up here on the chest. This one has more detail up on the top, but I mean, it's so close to the way that the original toy looked, other than the fact that now it looks more like a humanoid type robot than that thing. Now the Cylon head. Yeah, he has a Cylon head. He didn't have that in the TV show. The TV show he looked more like that. But as an added bonus, you can turn this guy's head around. So you can turn his head around, you get a little bit closer to the way that he looked back in his toy mode. He's got the Cylon sort of shielded face, and not quite as Cylon-esque, I guess, as the original toy. But again, it's a nice tribute, and if you want to pose him up on your shelf this way, you can. I choose to make him more TV show accurate, so I'm going to flip this face back around, and that's the way I'm going to probably keep him from now on. Articulation on Brawn is excellent. You've got a ball joint here. Actually, you don't. You have a ball joint here inside the arm, so you get full range of motion there. And then you've got the swivel here with another ball joint, so you've got a nice range of arm motion. You've got waist articulation due to transformation. You've got a nice range of motion. These joints are nice and tight, and I really don't want to loosen them up right now. But you've got the ball joint here in the leg and the swivel here in the knee. So there's a lot of, I mean, you can get some pretty awesome poses out of this guy. I mentioned the shotgun. You can hold that and look super tough. That's a mean-looking weapon. I mean, that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's that you don't want that coming at you. But that's a great weapon right there. Size comparison, as you can see, he's quite a bit taller than the mini-bots. Let's put him up against some more modern figures. All right, so here he is next to Warpath and Cup. And, I mean, the size is actually pretty good. I mean, if you look at Sergeant Cup, yeah, he's taller. This is the Transformers Prime version of Cup. And, but he's not dwarfed by any means. So he's a small bot that looks like he's ready to kick some tail. Pretty cool. And another mini-bot redone is Warpath. Hasbro's version of the redo of the mini-bot. And you can see he's quite a bit taller than our guy here. But, you know, it's fine. I think, I'll tell you this, forget the comics. This is your new Wreckers. Look at, these guys look like they're going to come in there and just kick it. You can get this guy in here. We'll throw him in for comparison as well. So Hench has got some pretty good size to him. He is next to Cliff Jumper. I think he's going to, he's going to turn him into Zombie Cliff Jumper in a second if he didn't get out of here. But, yeah, I mean, I think that our Brawn Hench dude really is sized up very, very well for a display on your shelf. Now, I mentioned his feet. You know, a lot of people have complained that he doesn't stand very well. I've not had any issue. I mean, he's not, you can see as I'm sitting here tapping him. I don't want to tap him too hard because he will fall, but, I mean, he's springing back. So to me, these little bits right here underneath the gas tank, the mufflers or whatever you want to call them, you know, it holds him up pretty well. So I don't really have an issue with having him stand up at all. Anyway, that about does it for my review of Brawn, aka MW-03 HENCH by iGEAR. Great figure. He's about $35 on TF Source. That can seem a bit steep, but if you think about it, Transformers like TF Prime Cup, you know, run in some places $17 plus you add tax onto that, up close to $20. And here you're getting really a great update to a figure from long ago that is not made cheaply at all. Everything's real tight, fits together great. I mean, I can't recommend this guy enough. So to me, the $35, well spent. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, if you like my reviews. I review a lot of Transformers, some My Little Pony, electronic things, just anything I can get my hands on, I'll do a video review. So your support means everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.